Good morning, guys. It's another episode here, Nolan's Pod. I'm back. I am back. Um, it's been a lot that's been happening over the past 2 months that we covered on this podcast. The NBA season came and went. You had football season first, and then the NBA season came and went. You had the NFL draft back in April. And then also in April, the NBA playoffs started, so we had to go through that. And then last month, June, you had the NBA draft. And then just last week, you have the Major League Baseball draft. So 3 drafts have gone on and went since then. But like I was telling you guys, those drafts came and went. NFL season came and went. Right behind that was, after that, I should say, was the NBA playoffs. And Major League Baseball season starts in February and March. But when you have the NBA going on, that takes over too. So at first I was covering the Braves in late spring. I was covering the Braves on this podcast. But being at the NBA playoffs starting in April, covering all that, getting all that out the way, now that basketball season is over, I'm going to be starting back covering the Braves again. Well, not like I don't keep up with it 25-8 anyway, but I'm going to actually be telling you guys more about the Braves as I was back in April. So, without further ado, this week was All-Star Week, and Marcell Ozuna participated in the Home Run Derby. The Braves had 4 All-Stars this year: Marcell, Max Fried, Reynaldo Lopez, and Chris Sale. They represented the Braves at All-Star Weekend. Things to look forward to in the second half of the season. Well, first of all, I would just like to say this All-Star break started Monday, and it ends tomorrow, which is Friday. It's felt like 2 weeks that this All-Star break's been going on, in my opinion. I'm ready to chop it back up again. I'm ready to chop it up, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to chop it up. It's like it's been 2 long weeks since the Braves have played, since anybody has played. And I'm ready to chop it back up again, and we can start doing that tomorrow when we start our second half of the season. Our first half of the season, you could say, our first half of the season, as of right now, we probably like where we're at right now. We're 11 games over 500, and with all the crap that we went through in the first half of the season, losing Ronald Acuna Jr. to another torn ACL, Sean Murphy getting hurt on opening day, Money Mike being out with a hamstring strain, all the things that we went through, Ozzy getting hurt, all the things that we went through, and we're still 8 games back of the Phillies. We're still in a good spot. We're 11 games over 500. All the crap that we went through, we're still in a good place. Obviously, one thing that's concerning about that first half of this season was we had that historic offense last year, and we were spoiled all the time last year with our historic offense. It was going to be hard to repeat and duplicate that. It was always going to be hard to try to repeat what we did offensively last year because we were so historic offensively. It was always going to be hard to try and come back and repeat that this season. And then when you have the guys like Ozzy getting hurt, Sean Murphy, Ronald Acuna Jr., Money Mike, when you have those guys getting hurt and you try to fill spots, your offense is going to take a dip. It's going to take a dip. Our offensive numbers, we're middle of the pack. We're 10th in home runs with 109. We're 17th in batting average with 241. We're 14th in on-base plus slugging, which is OPS. We're 14th in that category, 709. We're 20th in RBIs with 386. We're 19th in runs scored with 407. We're 17th in hits with 774. We're second in doubles with 178. We're 28th in triples with 9. We're 26th in walks with 266. We're 10th in strikeouts offensively. 10th in strikeouts, 844. That's a number I would like to see come down a lot during the second half of the season. We don't run a lot. We're 26th in stolen bases with 44. On base percentage, we're 23rd with a 304 on base percentage. In slugging, we're 13th with 405. As I just told you guys, we're middle of the pack offensively. And when you lose those guys, I keep repeating, Ronald Acuna Jr., Money Mike, Sean Murphy, Ozzie, for those guys that we had lost. 3 of those guys we've already gotten back. Money Mike's probably going to play tomorrow, or if not, he's very, very close to returning, which we need him. Ronald Acuna Jr. torn ACL, he's out for the season. So 3 of those guys out of the 4 that I just named are playing right now, and 1 is coming back, and the other one's out for the season. So the guys that we have now, Ozzie, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Orlando Arcia. We have guys that are struggling, key guys. Austin Riley was also hurt for like 3 weeks of this season. He comes back, he's struggling. Matt Olson's been struggling all year. He did not start off good. Then he showed signs of getting hot. He got hot. And now before the All-Star break, he's in the slump again. So the guys like Austin Riley, Matt Olson, those guys that carry us are not carrying us. And we need those guys to carry us because of the guys that we have out, like Ronald Acuna Jr. and Money Mike for right now. Those guys that we have out, we need these guys to snap out of their funk and carry us. That goes along with Ozzie Albies. That goes along with Orlando Arcia. That goes along with Jarred Kelenic. We all have to do our part in the lineup. And in the first half of the season, we did not do that. Obviously, I keep telling you guys, we were hampered by injuries. And then, when we were healthy enough, our offense just not coming through. So, we would not be where we're at in the first half of the season if it wasn't for Marcell Ozuna and what he's done this season. Marcell has single-handedly put the offense on his back and did everything possible to get this team back to where it needs to be offensively. But Marcell cannot do it by himself. Our catchers, Travis d'Arnaud, Sean Murphy, they have to contribute. Sean Murphy needs to get going. Matt Olson has to contribute. He needs to get going. Austin Riley needs to get going, which he did prior to the All-Star break. And Orlando Arcia has got to get going. We got Eddie Rosario back. Left field has been a revolving door because we had to put Jarred Kelenic in center field because Money Mike's hurt. When Money Mike comes back, Jarred Kelenic goes to left field. And then in right field, trying to replace Ronald Acuna Jr. You can't replace Ronald Acuna Jr. Adam Duvall this season has not been great at all. He did come around a little bit 2 weeks prior to the All-Star break. He's showing signs of hitting well against right-handed pitching. Replacing Ronald Acuna Jr. is just not going to happen. So when we have all these guys struggling like we do, it's not good. And that's why our offensive numbers are middle of the pack. And that's why the outsiders in the media are saying, what's wrong with the Braves offense? I wonder that too, what the heck's wrong with the Braves offense. Obviously, I just told you guys what's wrong with the Braves offense. Injuries, and then the guys that are on the field are not performing up to their normal capabilities. If we want to get going in this second half of the season, we've got to have Ozzie Albies. Orlando Arcia has got to give us something that he gave us last year from his All-Star season last year. Matt Olson needs to turn back into the Matt Olson that we need. Austin Riley has got to be the Austin Riley that we're accustomed to. Money Mike's got to come back, get reacclimated, and get readjusted, and be the Money Mike we all know and love him to be. Adam Duvall is going to probably have to try to hit out of his mind. Jarred Kelenic, continue to do what you do. You've done good in the leadoff spot. Continue to do what you do. My 2 catchers, Travis d'Arnaud, Sean Murphy, I need y'all to get it going. I don't know what Alex Anthopoulos, Braves president of operations, I don't know what he's gonna do at the trade deadline, but knowing Alex Anthopoulos and his 6 years of being the GM / president of operations, he's always been aggressive at the trade deadline. Remember that World Series year? We got Soler, we got Jock Peterson, and we got Adam Duvall. We had Eddie Rosario too. Remember all those guys that we got to replace Ronald Acuna Jr. when he first tore his ACL the first time? We got all those guys. They counted us out. We won a World Series. I expect Alex Anthopoulos to be aggressive this trade deadline. The trade deadline's on July 30th, so that's approaching shortly as we speak. I seen that the Braves were interested in Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, he would probably play right field, but if we were to get him. But I see the Braves are interested in Cody Bellinger. That's a solid option. I like to hear that. I like that. I would be okay with that. Cody Bellinger is a World Series winner. He's turned his career back around with the Chicago Cubs, so I would like that. Transitioning into the other side of the ball, our pitching is another reason why we're 11 games over 500 and why we are only 8 games back of the Phillies. If we want to win the division, our pitching has to continue what it did the first half of the season, and that's be dominant, be great. That's what our pitching did in the first half of the season. We were 8th in the wins as far as our pitching goes with 53. We were 22nd in losses with 42 as far as our pitching goes. We're first in ERA with a 3.40 ERA. We're second in complete games with two complete games. Those 2 were by Max Fried. We are first in shutouts of shutting teams out with 11. We're 9th in saves with 26. Our starting pitching and our pitchers this season have gave up the fewest home runs with 81. That's good for 30th. That is good for 30th with 81. That's the fewest home runs in MLB. We're 7th in strikeouts with 840. Our pitchers have struck out 840 guys. That's good for 7. Our whip is good for 4. Whip is walks and hits per inning pitch. Our whip is 4th. That's good for 4th with 1.19. And our batting average against opposing teams, our pitching, 233. That's good for 7. So our pitching has carried us. Max Fried has been Max Fried. Obviously, his first 2 starts were rocky, and we were like, what the heck is wrong with Max Fried? Obviously, since those first 2 starts of the season, he's rebounded and has been the Max Fried that we have come to know and love. Then with Spencer Strider getting hurt, our ace, that puts a hamper on our pitching too. But you got Chris Sale that has stayed healthy. He's been dominant. He's kind of reshaped his career in an Atlanta Braves jersey, if you want to say that. Chris Sale was on his way to being a Hall of Famer anyway. And with all those injuries that he's had over the past 4 or 5 seasons, this year Chris Sale has reminded people of why he was a former All-Star, why he's an All-Star this year, and why he's the most dominant left-hander in the league. He reminded people of that this year because he's able to stay healthy. He's another reason why we're at where we're at. Reynaldo Lopez, we get him in a trade from the Chicago White Sox. We convert him back into a starting pitcher. He used to be a bullpen pitcher, but he also used to be a starting pitcher. We convert him back out of the bullpen to be a starting pitcher. We are very cautious with him. And I don't think that Snit, Rick Kranitz, pitching coach, and Alex Anthopoulos thought that they were going to get the kind of performance in the first half of the season that they got out of Reynaldo Lopez. He surprised a lot of people. And that's why we're at where we are at. Charlie Morton. Charlie's going to be either on 1 start or he's going to either be off 1 start. But we know what we're going to get from Charlie. He's going to be on or he's not going to be not on. But more times than not, if Charlie has that curveball and then he's able to mix in that fastball, he's unbeatable. Spencer Schwellenbach. Spencer Schwellenbach is our 5th pitcher in our rotation. You know, we have been kind of going back and forth to find a 5th pitcher in our rotation, and Spencer Schwellenbach has actually done a good job, a decent job, and he's actually come through. I don't know if Double A is going to go out and get a starting pitcher at the trade deadline. As I told you, he's always aggressive at the trade deadline. But to everyone's credit, Spencer Schwellenbach has actually done a pretty good job of holding the fort down in that 5th spot in the rotation. I would like for Alex Anthopoulos to go get somebody more experienced to go 5th in that starting rotation. But Spencer Schwellenbach has been more than what we can ask for by far. So our starting pitching and our bullpen, we have one of the best bullpens in the league. Dylan Lee, AJ Minter, Tyler Matzik, Raisel Iglesias, Jesse Chavez, Aaron Bummer, Grant Holmes, Daisabel Hernandez, the guys that come up from AAA, all those guys that go back and forth, you know how that works. Our bullpen and our starting pitching is why we are at where we're at. And like I told you guys, we're only 8 games back of the Phillies. We can make up and cover some ground, and we can hope that the Phillies stop playing out of their minds a little bit. The Phillies have played out of their minds all season. We can hope that they stop playing out of their minds and they come back to life just a little bit so we can cut into this thing. If we're down, we are out 8 games of the division. If we can cut that lead down to 4, then we doing something, or at least we think we doing something, but we doing something. Just cut the lead down 8 games, cut the lead down to 4. That's a goal that we should have coming into the second half of the season. We're first in the wild card, which is good. If the playoffs started today, we would be first in the wild card and we would have home field advantage. Now, I actually told my dad I don't mind us not winning the division and being in a wild card and still having home field advantage. Because when you're in a wild card, at least you know that after the regular season ends, you're going to be playing right away. Versus when you win the division and then you have to wait for the wild card games to be played. You win the division, you have to wait basically a whole week to play again, and that disrupts the rhythm and the flow that you had, which we've experienced that the last 2 seasons. So, like I told my dad, I wouldn't mind if we lost the division and we actually played in a wild card game. At least we know that we'll be playing again right away after the regular season ends, so we can still be in rhythm and still have a flow and not have a whole week off. Our home record is 29-17. Obviously, we're good at Truist, to no one's surprise. Our road record is 24-25. We want to be above 500 or right at 500 when you're playing on the road. That's every team's goal. We're 1 game above 500. On the road, we want to be better than that in the second half of the season. So tomorrow, we start off the series at home against the St. Louis Cardinals. Then the Cincinnati Reds come in. That's going to be our 6-game homestand coming out of this All-Star break tomorrow. We want to get some revenge on the Cardinals. We want to get revenge on the Redbirds because they took 2 out of 1. In St. Louis, they took 2 out of 1 from us. So we want to get some revenge, and that starts tomorrow. It would be nice to sweep the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have actually been playing better baseball as of late. Going into the All-Star break, they were playing really good baseball. So the Cardinals are not a team that you're going to take lightly, but we are trying to get back on the St. Louis Cardinals, and hopefully we do that. And it's going to be a fun second half of the season because I know that we're going to make this thing interesting as we always do. And as I told you guys, I'm going to have Braves coverage for y'all now that basketball season's over. No football and nothing really happening. This is the dog days of the summertime, so I'm going to have more coverage for you guys as far as the Braves. With that being said, Monday or Tuesday, I will have all the things that I need to have for you guys with this 3-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. I will have all that for you guys coming next week and how we did in this weekend series. But with that being said, that's all I have for you guys today. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think are the keys to the Braves having a good second half of the season.